Graham Matthews, Daily DDT. My man, how you doing?
Doing great, Randy Cruz. How about yourself, brother?
Doing good, man. Can't complain. Taping this on January 31st. You're back in Connecticut from the Royal Rumble down in Tampa. How many Rumbles have you been to, my man?
This was my third Rumble. I went last year. I went this year. And the last Rumble I went to before that was 2018 in Philly, near the Nakamura one and Rousey debut. And that was a great show. And that's still, of the three that I've been to,
Yeah.
the best one that I've been to. But, I thought this was a fine show, and I thought last year might have been a better show slightly overall. It's kind of hard to compare the two. They're kind of the same. But, yeah, no, it was a fun time in Tampa this past weekend.
You can follow Graham Matthews on Twitter or X now at WrestleRant. Again, great work from both Bleacher Report and FanSidedDDT. Myself, Randy J. Cruz, Rendy, letter JCRUZ. Find the podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube.com/Cruise Control Podcast. Also on TikTok too, at 3 Falls Pod. Go ahead, download, rate, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Show some love and support for your boys on the program. Again, Graham, you were at the Royal Rumble. This is WrestleMania season. We had our takes, our thoughts of our fantasy booking about who's going to win, who should win, and how does it outline for WrestleMania. And you fast forward 72 plus hours, and the WrestleMania card that we had in our mind is I wouldn't say completely out of the realm, but there are some things going to change. Obviously, the main cog is CM Punk is now out with a legit injury, torn tricep that happened during the actual Rumble match, and he was, to us, penciled in to get Seth Rollins at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now that is out. Punk could be out through the summer, depending on how fast he heals. But that's a big blow. Seth Rollins is also injured, but he's trying to get through it through WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes is now a back-to-back Royal Rumble winner, first time since 1998 and 7 with Stone Cold Austin. Bayley won the Women's Royal Rumble. We had a debut of Jade Cargill in the Rumble. So it was a lot going on, but let's rewind back to Punk. How does Punk's injury affect the initial WrestleMania plans, and what do you see the plans are for him going forward post WrestleMania?
I mean, drastically, for as far as the complexion of the card for WrestleMania changing now, with Punk not being a part of it. I think we can all assume and safely say that it was supposed to be Punk and Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. We've talked about that before. We all kind of figured that was the case. Even without Punk winning the Rumble, to me, it didn't really matter who won the Rumble. I thought Punk would and maybe should win, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, Cody winning was still a great moment. Helps add to the finish the story thing, kind of makes it concrete that he is finishing the story against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, unless for some dumb reason he chooses Seth Rollins and we still get Rock and Roman at WrestleMania, which I don't think is happening this year. I do think it'll happen at some point. They're talking about it so much as of late, especially if Rock hasn't committed yet. It's fucking January 31st. I know he's a part of the board now, but if you're not committed now, then you're not wrestling at WrestleMania. Sorry, pal. But anyway, as far as Punk goes, the funny thing is, and not really funny, but the match was already in jeopardy with Rollins because Rollins suffered that MCL torn meniscus injury about a week and a half earlier against Jinder Mahal in that World Heavyweight Championship match. He came out on Raw a week ago and said, I'm hurt at least until WrestleMania, but it kind of looked like per the timeline, the timetable for his return, he could be cleared by Mania. But the Punk match was still on. Punk now gets hurt. He's definitively out of WrestleMania. Rollins needs a new opponent. So a couple things changing here with the whole lawsuit stuff happening last week. That's a whole other discussion, obviously. Brock being wrapped up in that. Brock may never be back in WWE per kind of just the rumors going around right now, and maybe rightfully so, if he's actually guilty of what he was alleged to have done. Again, whole other conversation. The bottom line is that he probably, very likely, and probably should not be a part of WrestleMania this year, if ever again. So that being said, it looked like him and Gunther was going to be the match. That match is no longer happening. Gunther is free. Rollins is free, assuming he can go. We did not see Rollins. No, Rollins was on the show this week. I'm sorry. He confronted Cody. I think it's going to be Rollins and Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. As far as Punk himself, the timetable I've seen shift a couple times. I've heard 4 to 6 months. I saw Meltzer say he could be back by September. That would be a safe bet. That's an 8 months from now. I mean, it's January 31st, so practically 7 months from now. I don't know, that seems a bit on the longer side, but he is older. He's torn his triceps before. This might be a longer recovery. And that's the reality of the situation. I'm a big Punk guy. I'm a big Punk fan. But we also have to acknowledge the reality here that the guy's older now. He's 45 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just very injury prone. Now, Samoa Joe is around the same age. He's the current AEW World Champion. He has also suffered a lot of injuries in the past, and he's on the best run of his career right now. So it's not to say that Punk should, WWE should part ways with Punk. He's useless to them. He's obviously had a really good run so far without even wrestling up until the Rumble. The promos alone, his presence alone on the shows has really added to WWE TV. So when he does come back, and he will come back, and he should come back, he will continue to add to WWE. If he gets hurt again within the next year or so, then it might be time to call it quits. I mean, the guy suffered 3 very serious injuries in the span of 2 years, under 2 years between AEW and now WWE.
Mm-hmm.
The guy only wrestled one televised match and got hurt in 10 minutes. I mean, that's just not a very good sign for his future. But I think when he comes back, they planted the seeds very well on Monday for a match with Drew McIntyre. Hopefully Drew McIntyre does resign so we can get that match. That would be the perfect match for SummerSlam. That might be pushing it, though. That's in about 6 months. I don't know as far as Punk's recovery. But I think you'll pick up right where he left off. And it's one of those things, he said it in his promo on Monday, there's always next year. If he's healthy next year and he hasn't blown up by then in terms of backstage stuff, then they could just do the match with Rollins next year, and hopefully he can get his main event then. But it does suck that he will not be getting his main event this year.
I think one is it's a bummer to see. You see Punk come back Survivor Series. You see, him do the promos with Cody in the ring, and you get really excited about the potential of him and Seth. Him and Seth in the promos in the ring, and the potential of what WrestleMania 40 could be in Philly, where, again, on a master plan is Punk and Rollins. You got Cody and Roman. You got so many other things. The Rock could be involved. And it's like, now it's like, for me, you get Cody and Roman. I think Cody, just because of what's been transpiring, I think Cody does defeat Roman. I don't think The Rock gets in this year's WrestleMania. Because if you ask me, if I have the book now and I see all the pieces right now, Punk is gonna. I think Seth would be like in. I think Drew has to be involved. I don't think they do Seth and Gunther. I don't think that. I think Seth with a Drew McIntyre and maybe a Sami Zayn, because Drew's been beefing with Sami Zayn recently. They do make a triple threat. Let's put that out, a triple threat. Gunther, I don't know who he gets yet, right? Cody's going to pick Roman Reigns, even though Seth made a valid, a quite tempting, trying to persuade Cody to pick me in my championship for WrestleMania. There is some lineage to it, and there is some history, but I think Cody would eventually pick Roman. And I think what will happen is Punk. I think Drew McIntyre wins the title at WrestleMania from Seth. I think I don't have a problem with that. If you can see going forward, recently Drew McIntyre has been getting better in the ring and the promos. He's a heel. Like, I think that this is his time to be the champion, respectfully. And I see him being world champion through SummerSlam, right? And I'd see CM Punk costing Drew McIntyre the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam to some degree. They start their beef, their rivalry that can go through maybe Survivor Series. You know how Cody fought Seth Rollins for 3 straight shows, and Cody fought Brock 3 straight shows. Yep. All right, we're gonna get maybe Punk and Drew and build off of that. Punk will win the 2025 Royal Rumble, right? He will pick Cody Rhodes for WrestleMania 41, and then during this time, you can still get The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 41. Non-title match. So everybody gets to be happy. You get a Punk Rumble win. He gets the main event WrestleMania. He gets Cody Rhodes. That'd be a nice story. On the flip side, night 1, you get The Rock and Roman Reigns for the head of the table, non-title. Drew McIntyre is world champion during his reign. Like, I think that's the best scenario for me right now going forward.
Yeah, no, that would work. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I don't think. Listen, I think Drew winning the title is infinitely more possible now than it was a week ago, with the Rollins kind of being slightly hurt. He might need to take time off after WrestleMania anyway. I always figured whenever he lost the World Heavyweight Championship, he might take time off. I don't know if they can. I was going to say they can't afford to lose him right now, but they probably can. I mean, they have such a stacked roster between the two brands. They probably can't afford to have Punk and Rollins out at the same time.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know if Drew will win the World Heavyweight Championship. We don't know if he's re-signed or not. The current belief is that he has not. And it is kind
Right.
of interesting that he's being pushed as aggressively as he is on TV right now without having a contract in place. Maybe they're hoping to sign him. Maybe they think they will sign him. Maybe they just have a different mindset than 5 years ago. Like it was 5 years ago this past week that it was announced that Dean Ambrose was not re-signing with the company. They made that very clear like 3 months out that he was not re-signing. They literally
Hmm.
announced that on WWE.com. And then they proceeded to really not use him, have him lose a lot of matches, and he wasn't even a part of WrestleMania. He wasn't really doing anything of note up until he left in April. Drew's the exact opposite. He's on the show every week, winning a majority of his matches, winning the main event of Raw. I mean, he's involved in World Heavyweight Champion feuds. He was in the headline of the main event of Royal Rumble, the main event of Survivor Series, one of the key matches at Crown Jewel as well. So he's in a very different position. I don't see him winning the World Championship. He is on a roll right now. He's doing the best, probably the best work period of his entire career, in ring wise and especially character wise and promo wise. If he were to win the World Heavyweight Championship, that'd be fine by me. We've already seen him and Rollins a few times, which is why I don't think we're getting that match at WrestleMania or him involved in the mix. I mean, maybe. I would just go with Gunther because he has the momentum right now. He has not lost. Him and Rollins is a fresh match. They already kind of planted the seeds unknowingly for it on the Raw right before the Royal Rumble anyway. The only issue that you have there is that Gunther is still the Intercontinental Champion. Now, I don't see him dropping that championship before Mania. That'd be very fucking dumb. Does he pull double duty? Do they make it a title for title match? I've suggested that. I would do that. The only thing there, though, is that he would have to defend both championships. If you were to just vacate the Intercontinental Championship after holding it for almost 2 years and not get beaten for it, that would be annoying to me. I mean, Samoa Joe did the same thing recently in
Hmm.
AEW, and I was not a fan of that either. I just fucking hate when they do that shit. Asuka did it a couple years ago. Didn't like when they did it there either. So your scenario, my scenario, I would be fine with either one. I think long term, though, I agree with what you said. I think Punk can, will, and should win the 2025 Royal Rumble, which he was not able to win this past year. And if they do him and Rollins before then, that's fine. I think if Punk's going to be in the main event of Mania, which I think he should be at some point, that's like the one bucket list item he hasn't accomplished aside from winning the Rumble. It's got to be for a world championship. I just don't see him headlining without a world title on the line. And him and
Hmm.
Rollins, I don't think will be the world title match. World title match next year. I think they want to do that this year. Rollins may not be world heavyweight champion by that point next year. Maybe, I don't know. But him and Cody would work great, though. I don't know if Cody will be champion for a whole year uninterrupted, but that would be a great Mania main event for WrestleMania 41. So I'm on board with you there as far as that goes.
And that's a great segue because everybody in their mother wants Cody Rhodes to finish the story and take down Roman Reigns, and I've been telling you for months, I'm like, great, if he's gonna beat Roman, fucking do it. But how long will Cody have the belt for? Because now you're saying we just saw Roman had the belt for 3 years. Now, if Cody wins at Mania, you're telling me I don't know if he can have it. He's gonna have it for 1 year. I would assume you build this guy up, story this, story that, rightfully so. Cody Rhodes can't hold the belt for 1 year, and not saying do a 3 year Roman
Yeah.
Reigns job, but I would assume he's not losing that belt anytime soon. Like, could he drop it to Punk at the following WrestleMania? It's a possibility, but he's not gonna have it for 3 months and lose it at fucking Backlash, right away, which is what they would normally do years ago with champions. But now you're a champion. It's a year plus. Roman, Gunther, Usos tag titles. You're a champion a year plus. I think Cody would have the belt until 41. I think it'll be Punk. There's a lot of interesting factors because now it's like, okay, you Damian Priest, you still got the money in the bank. Now, what is your timeline now? Because he won it. I think he won it in July, right? At Money in the Bank, or June, July, right?
Who, Rollins?
No, Priest.
Yeah, it was
He won
July. Early July,
June or
yeah.
July, one of those, right? So he has until June or July to cash in, and it's like, all right, are you cashing in I don't think Seth is still champion by then. Is it going to be a Drew McIntyre? Is it going to be a Gunther? Is it going to be a Sami Zayn? We don't know. Like your timeline's coming up, so you got to figure this shit out now.
Mm-hmm.
Gunther, are you getting? Is there a Big E return with this whole New Day Imperium thing? It was quote unquote supposed to be Brock, and he's going to be out. Do you do a Jey Uso? Like we don't know what's going on. That's why I feel like don't put Gunther and Seth together, because you can still got two separate matches for their championship belts. So it's a lot. It reminds me of WrestleMania 32 where they had initial plans and people got hurt and left the company, whatever, and they got to scramble, but they do have the talent there to plug those holes.
Yeah, no, I think they do. I think there's a lot of different scenarios and a lot of different directions they can go in, including with the people that you just mentioned. Just to go back on the title reign thing, I mean, I think we need to normalize, and I'm not an Attitude Era fan in the sense of like they had a lot of short title reigns. I don't like that shit. But I think I am a long title reign fan, but I don't think every
Mm-hmm.
title reign needs to be 1 year. I know we're seeing that recently with Triple H. He's a big fan of that, and that's okay. We have a lot of long title reigns right now. I don't think that needs to be the case with everyone. I think Cody, especially as a babyface, it's a lot more difficult as a babyface to be a champion for at least a year, if not a little less than that, and remain interesting because you're seeing the same person overcome the odds time and time again. It's different when you have a Roman, and even that's obviously tired and very, very tiresome, but Roman, Gunther, Rhea, who are like the dominant heels, they have to be overcome. It's going to mean more when they eventually get beaten. You can have long babyface runs too. I just feel like Cody would benefit. I mean, I don't know. We have no fucking clue what the landscape of the company, the rosters will look like come Mania, after Mania. The landscape of the company changed in 7 days, let alone 3 months from now.
Yeah.
So we have no idea what it's going to look like. I would be fine with him dropping it, not at Backlash, obviously, but at SummerSlam or something like that. And then he has to chase to get it back and he gets the belt back or whatever. I know we've seen him chase for so long now. We don't want to see him back in chase mode anytime soon. I agree with that. But he could be a chase mode for a little bit, longer, not past many, but like win the title, be champion, go back in chase mode around SummerSlam. Because someone asked me recently over Rumble weekend, like, who does Cody lose the belt to? I'm thinking, well, it's fucking January. He hasn't even won the belt yet. I don't know.
That's right.
Off the top of my head,
They want to know, Graham. They want to know. They want to know.
I know that we're always looking ahead. I would just say enjoy for right now for what it is. But listen, we're talking about it with, you and I are talking about it right now. Off the top of my head, you didn't mention this person. I could see at SummerSlam Cody losing the belt to Randy Orton, a heel Randy Orton. I know we've talked about like, oh, you could do that match of Mania. I would not do that match of this year's Mania. We're not getting that match of Mania, obviously. That's off the cards. Do it at SummerSlam. Have Orton go heel. He beats Cody for the belt. He becomes a 15-time world champion, gets closer to the record. Cody can beat him for the belt. I mean, we saw the exact same thing with Drew a few years ago. Orton beat Drew for the belt. Orton only had it for like 3 fucking weeks, but they gave the belt right back to Drew soon after. I would be fine with something like that. I mean, I think that works just as well. But yeah, anyway, that's months down the road. As far as like plugging in the holes for Mania, like you said, they have enough talent who don't even have obvious Mania matches right now that they could plug into these open spots. I mean, we have an Orton. Knight, I think, is facing Logan Paul. I think he's set. But Orton, Owens, AJ, all SmackDown guys, but what the fuck are they doing at WrestleMania? I have literally no clue. They have no obvious direction. So Bobby Lashley's another one. Bobby and Karrion Kross, I don't think we're getting that at Mania. They'll probably, honestly, I hate to say it, end up in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That's just what it is. But yeah, I don't know. As far as the World Heavyweight title stuff, I think they're fine because, like you mentioned, they got Sammy, they have Drew, they have Gunther. They have enough options that make sense. Or I don't think it's a huge blow to Mania because Punk and Rollins was the match, a much bigger match than any other match they could do right now on the Raw side. But they have other options they can kind of fill in those gaps with.
Hey, listen, like you mentioned, like having a 1 year reign is not like mandatory. Whether you're a tag champion, IC champion, US World Heavyweight, whatever. I grew up in that attitude era where I seen you knew Stone Cold was going to win the belt at WrestleMania 14. At that time, we're not thinking about, all right, how long is he going to be champion for? Who's he going to drop the belt to? Like even back then, like your longest reigns at that time was what, 6 months? A Bret Hart, a Shawn Michaels. Undertaker had 6 months. I think Hogan was the longest one during that modern era.
On average,
then
6 months.
I see Stone Cold lose it to fucking Kane at the King of the Ring, and then win the shit back the following night. He'll lose it 3 months later at in your house. So it was flip floppy back and forth, even for Stone Cold, Steve Austin, and the guys like The Rock. So if you tell me Randy Orton defeats Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, great, love it. You build off of that. Orton could be a heel because the big question is this, Graham: who says Cody Rhodes is not the heel by WrestleMania 41?
He could be. I don't know if he should or will be just because he's so popular and they want to make him the guy. But he could be. I mean,
Right.
especially if they were to have him lose at WrestleMania 41, which I think would be fucking ridiculous. I mean, it was stupid that he lost last year, but it would be even worse if you lost this year, which I don't think he is. But people would get sick of hearing him finish this story. By the time he finally wins,
Yeah,
the people will boo him, I think. I mean, I'm just happy that people
exactly.
aren't booing him now. When he won at Rumble, I kind of feared that he might get booed over Punk. But no, people were very happy when he won, and that's very surprising because fans are very fickle, and they don't like when people win 2 years in a row or they don't do the same thing 2 years in a row. I was very worrisome about that, but that
Mm.
wasn't an issue, thankfully. And he could be the heel by next year. We have no idea. And when that day comes, Cody will make for an amazing heel because he is a very, very good heel.
Because when I saw Raw this week, and I mentioned heel and the Cody Rhodes stuff. If someone goes out there and you tell me what do you think when someone goes out there and the announcer Samantha Irvin says, all right, the 2024 winner of the Royal Rumble, Cody Rhodes, and the crowd's cheering, is it more of a babyface move or a heel move to tell the announcer to repeat what you just said about, like, wow, that sounds real good. Repeat what you just said.
Yeah,
Repeat
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that I'm the 2024 Royal Rumble winner. Is that more of a good guy move or a bad guy move, Graham?
It is a bad guy move, but they're not going to turn him heel anytime soon. I don't think that was even designed to plant the seeds. Cody's so likable that I think that one little thing will go unnoticed or people won't really mind. But
No,
yes, traditionally that is a heel move. Yes.
I'm not saying go full heel, but he's going to mimic John Cena, where John Cena was not, he didn't go totally over the line, but people began to boo him, began to get tired of him, oh, John Cena, five fingers, five moves, and he's gonna win this. And John Cena, a year and a half reign as champion multiple times, like he's gonna be that guy. But is he gonna be like John Cena, like, you know what, just gonna be me, or start tweaking things a bit where by the time 41 comes, because now if you put Punk and Rhodes in the main event, uh, I, that could be 50-50 split of good guy, or like, Punk gonna talk his shit, Cody gonna talk his shit, and you fans got to figure out who you gonna cheer for. But I think by next year, this time, WrestleMania season, Cody is not gonna be what you see right now.
I don't think Punk will be what we see right now either. I think Punk could be a full blown
That's
heel
the
by then.
fact.
My mindset
True.
still is that if he were to face Rollins and Mania, maybe not at Mania or before Mania, I still think Punk would have gone heel right after. I know he's really
Mhm.
popular right now, but they have a lot of really popular people right now where they could afford to turn someone like a Punk heel. And the guy's an amazing fucking heel. And it makes sense too, because Rollins was like, oh, you're a hypocrite, you're this, you're that. And then Punk kind of proves them right by going
Yeah.
heel and showing, yeah, I don't give a shit about this company. I always talk shit about them. I'm just here for the title and the money, blah, blah, blah. I think we could see that by Mania too. Punk kind of felt more like the heel in that exchange last week on Raw than Cody did. So, I mean, Cody could be the heel, honestly. You could turn either one of them. But I'm just saying Punk
Mm.
as a heel is also an option that I think would be worth considering because the guy's so great in that role as well. We never got to see it in AEW. We haven't seen heel Punk in like 10 plus years. Give it to me
Yeah.
around WrestleMania, and I feel like that would be money as well.
As we've been mentioning, Cody did win the Rumble. Bailey won the Women's Rumble. Most on social media said the women's were better than the men's Rumble. Just the overall excitement. Not saying they got surprises, but there were no surprises, I think, in either Rumble like that, aside from Jade and stuff like that. Men kept it really chalk, and they called up some NXT guys. Braun Breaker got involved, and there was an R-Truth thing there, and with Judgment Day, but not like, oh, a legend or a returning superstar. Andrade did return as well. We did see that. No Big E. We
No,
kind of like
yeah.
Big E Tampa. Maybe not, but no. Uh, but I think the women's outshined the men's Rumble. As far as social media tells me, you were in the building. What'd you make of the actual Rumble matches, the excitement, and then obviously Cody winning, and Bailey, and then also getting Jay Cargill's debut?
Yeah, I like the show. I saw some people online say it was like underwhelming, which is totally understandable. I'm not going to say it was a home run show to the point where like, oh, if you didn't like it, then what are you talking about? No, I could totally see that. There were certain parts of the show and the matches themselves, the Rumble matches that were boring. More so the men's. I think of the two Rumble matches, the women's one was stronger. I thought that was the better one of the two. Had better surprises and moments. Jade was a fucking star in there. She was great. She had a great debut.
She killed it. Yeah.
I thought they handled her very, very well. Naomi coming out at number 2 was awesome. That really kind of set the tone for the match. That was expected, but I thought, her returning, that is. But it was great to see. She got an amazing reaction. She's from Orlando, and we haven't seen her in about 2 years in WWE. She's coming off the TNA run where she had a lot of success. Speaking of TNA, having the TNA Women's Champion in there was really fucking cool. As someone who follows that company and follows Jordynne Grace, I thought that was awesome. She also had a really, really, really good showing as well. She was in there for a while. I thought she did a great job as well. There was a few other people, some returning people. Liv Morgan coming back, I thought was cool. I think there was a few other people. There were a handful of surprises in both matches. Nothing like legends, no legends, and people did point that out. I'm kind of okay with that because we've had so many legends, especially in the women's one for the past 6 years. How many times can you trot out Tori Wilson and Kelly Kelly and Trish Stratus? Would I have popped for certain people? Yeah, but like we've seen enough.
Yeah, but Graham, that's the lore of the Rumble. I think that's the reason why people your age and people my age, I want to watch the Rumble. I want to see 30 people go at it, but you just never know who might pop up. Like, could they get thrown out right away? Sure.
Yeah.
But that's the lore of the Rumble match.
Okay. Well, listen, I agree with you in the sense that I'll share one thing too. On my way back from Tampa on Sunday, on my flight back, there was a couple of guys that were sitting next to me that were talking about the Rumble. They did not like the Rumbles, mostly because, like you just said, they were hoping for legends in the match. They were pissed that they did not see legends. One of them was pissed they didn't see The Rock in the match and win it. I said, shut the fuck up. We don't want Rock in there winning it. But listen, I agree with you. I think the surprises that we got were great. We got a lot of returning people, debuting people, new people from NXT. I think they did a really good mix of that. There's been Rumbles where we had literally zero surprises, so I can't complain, especially in recent years. Dare I bring back the 2022 Rumble with fucking Shane McMahon in there, and oh god, it was terrible.
Yeah.
As far as legends go, I agree. For the women's one, I'm saying for the women's one, I honestly don't give a shit, and I like her, and I've liked seeing her in the match. I do not need to see Kelly Kelly in there for a 4th time. I don't. The thing with the women is they don't have a deep pool of women to really pick from because they've used so many women's legends in the past for these matches. Yes, part of the allure and the appeal of the Rumble is bringing back old faces. I was hoping they would bring back AJ Lee. We've talked about that. She didn't pop up. I don't know why. Maybe she doesn't want to do it. Maybe they didn't ask her. I don't know. I was really hoping to see her. If we're talking about old faces from the division, I would have loved to have seen Eve Torres. We haven't seen her a single time in any of these Rumbles. I don't know if she just doesn't want to do it, if they haven't asked her. Again, I don't know. Again, Sable, I don't think is ever coming back, and especially with the Brock thing going on right now, that probably wasn't going to happen anyway. Yeah. But look, I would rather see, if we're going to see old faces, I want to see newer old faces, if that makes sense. I don't want to see them call back Kelly Kelly and Alicia Fox and other women for like
Tori Wilson,
who's been in like 3 of them already. Like, I'm good on that. If they want to bring back Victoria again or Melina, sure. We've only seen them once. I'm just kind of keeping a counter in my head here. For the men, I agree with you more on that point because there's a much deeper pool to pick from as far as legends that can kind of still go or can definitely still go that aren't signed to a company that you could bring in for the first time or for the second time that we haven't seen as a surprise entrant before. For example, and I know we mentioned him before previously, I think I mentioned him a couple weeks ago, Ken Shamrock. He's still in great shape. He's from 25 years ago. We haven't seen him in a long-ass time. They can put him in the Hall of Fame. That would have been fucking cool. I know you're a fan of him as well, and we haven't seen him in a long time. Mr. Kennedy. I think that would have been really, really cool. I don't know how many people would have remembered him, but I think enough people would have remembered him for him to get a good reaction in Tampa. So, I don't know. I feel like with the men, we could have seen someone like that. I don't need to see Booker T in there for a 3rd or 4th time. I'm good on that. I don't need to see Kevin Nash in there for a 5th time or whatever. If you had other legends lined up that could go, that would make sense, at least one, I would agree with you. We didn't get any of those, but the surprises we did get, I was content with.
I think for me, I was a little underwhelmed I thought the women's rumble was great. As I mentioned, you get Jade Cargill's debut. She goes right at the Nia Jax. We mentioned that on the show months ago. Oh, Jade Cargill, Nia Jax. I know the fantasy match that everybody wants is her and Bianca, which they did a great job of just having them stare down each other.
Yeah.
Don't touch, just stare. Let the crowd go ape shit and think and wonder, oh wow, this is fucking cool seeing this in real life. And that's what the men's did not do. Like I think the rumble was a few things. The lore of the legends is one thing, but you also gotta start setting up for WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And whether Jade and Bianca happens 1-on-1 or not, it's still something that you can think about and talk about. What if? Because I kept saying it too. They could be a tag team. They could be friends right now. They could tag team Kabuki Warriors and WrestleMania, and they start off that way, and then you build from that. Or they go right into 1-on-1. I don't know if they go right away into 1-on-1, but the men's they in out. Maybe Jey Uso and Jimmy they had this there down the beginning, so that could be a potential WrestleMania match. But I'm used to like Shawn and Jericho throwing each other out of the Rumble,
Mm-hmm.
still fighting on the outside, and then boom, you get them at WrestleMania 19. Somebody like fucking Hogan and Sid Justice, they throw each other out. You know what? WrestleMania 8 main event. Like it wasn't stuff like that where okay, now that could be a WrestleMania 40 match. That's the part I did not get from the men's. The women's, I want to say congrats to Bailey. She well deserving of that. She even since the pandemic, bro. Her, Sasha, Randy Orton held that whole shit down
Mm-hmm.
on their own in the pandemic. She's always been a great character. I think she'll be the main event of night one if they want to go that route. I think she'll pick Io. They're teasing her and Rhea, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's the match. I think it's her and Rio, respectfully. So I mean, aside from that, I thought it was a pretty decent Rumble match. I mean, Rumble card in general.
I think so. I thought both matches, the men's rumble, I've seen worse. I've seen better. I thought it was good for what it was. I liked it. Boring
Yeah.
in parts, but Triple H also wants to put more of an emphasis on the current roster, and I applaud that. I think he did a better job of that this year than last year, because like last year we
Yeah.
had fucking. I hate when they put tag teams in there and both guys are in there. Like for example, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are different because they are singles guys, but I'm talking like we didn't even get Gable in there, which was kind of surprising. But like we had
Mm.
no Profits in there this year, and I love the Profits, but we don't need the Profit. I know Angelo Dawkins is not going to WrestleMania. I know you could say the same thing about Ivar, but he has had more consistent TV time on his own lately than
Yeah.
Dawkins or Ford has, or Pretty Deadly, or even Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, who I like both guys, but like we don't need tag teams in there. Like even the New Day,
Yeah.
they only put in the Imperium, they put Ludwig in there, not Giovanni. They put Kofi in there, not Xavier Woods. I like all of
Mm.
those guys. We don't need to be flooding the Rumble with fucking tag teams. And the women's one was different because they put Katana Chance and Kaden Carter in there. They are a tag team. A lot of the women are tag teams, but that made more sense because they further their feud with the Kabuki Warriors. They only put Alba Fire in there. They did not put Isla Dawn in there. They didn't put both. So I like that. They did a better job of that this year than last year. The rest
Yeah.
of the show was fine. I thought Logan Paul and Kevin Owens was a good match. I thought the four-way was a good match. And that was it. Last year was a longer show with the show closing segment with Sami Zayn. We had the Hardy performance last year, which was a waste of time, but they did that. And we had a fifth match last year as well. This year was 4 matches, 2 long rumbles, and 2,
Mm.
decently long mid-card matches. So it still ended up being a 4-hour show. But I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show overall.
And there was no Sasha Banks in the women's Rumble. I think many people were disappointed. Was I
Yeah.
at home thinking it was going to happen? Probably not. But I'm kind of glad she wasn't in there because I think there's bigger things for her if she decides to come back. I
Okay.
did want to point that out. And then just to wrap up, we did have the Fatal 4-Way match: Roman, LA Knight, AJ, and Randy Orton for the championship. I think if you were Vegas, you were picking Roman Reigns to win that match somehow, some way, and many were like, "Oh man, Orton almost had him," but You get Sol Sikoa out there to do his normal shtick of interference at the last second, and people just, I don't know, Grant. I just love people being upset that Roman is still champion. Even Michael Cole said it because I know you were in the building. You didn't hear what he said.
Yeah,
When
the,
he
the thing about like,
way
oh,
back,
beat him then. Beat him.
beat
Yeah, I
him.
heard on Twitter.
I
Yeah.
was beat him. I see people complain. Yeah, just beat him. Like I'm like, fucking right. just just beat him. But I mean, Cody's gonna be the guy, and if it does, listen, there's still a shot that Cody goes in there and loses. And I
Yeah, there
think everybody
definitely is.
lose their fucking minds if that happens. They're gonna lose their fucking minds
I
because
would.
now I know you, bro. I don't. I wouldn't even want to talk to you at 11:03 at night if Cody Rhodes is not the world champion at WrestleMania. I'm like, did they really just do this like
Seriously,
again?
I
Like
didn't want to
are we
talk.
doing a third Rumble?
I'm still complaining after last year, let alone this year. So, God, I fucking hope not. No, anyone that thinks that's a
Oh
set in
man.
stone that Roman will win, I don't know where you've been the
Because
last
now,
3.5 years.
because now what they're doing is they're looking like they're trying to buy time. When Seth is saying pick my
Oh yeah,
world
no,
title,
they're
pick
yeah,
me.
yeah, they are. Yeah,
Yeah, now Cody got to go home and think about it.
good.
And like, is there the little inkling of the Rock could be in the Roman spot and get Cody against Seth Rollins? Graham, if that was to happen, are you like, I'm cool with it, but it's not what I want.
No, I'm not. No, that's not what I want. I don't think Rollins and Rhodes is the way to go. Cody should not win the World Heavyweight Championship from Rollins. That spot can go to really anyone else on Raw. Roman, who does Roman face? The
But
Rock?
even though there were, Steph was he had some bars, man. He the World Heavyweight Championship, Flair, Dusty. This is Dusty's championship. Do you want that Hulk Hogan title?
Yeah,
Do you want that Ultimate Warrior title,
that,
or you want the Dusty Ric Flair title? Right? It was smart though.
that shit was stupid. That was stupid because what he's saying is, oh, Roman never shows up. Why would you want that
That's
title?
right.
That's why he should face him to take the title and start defending it. I don't know why the fuck that was so fucking dumb. What you're saying, the Hogan? Yeah, I get that. Like, oh, this is the Dusty title. Okay, but like, why wouldn't he want to take the other title that his dad never held? That is literally the WWE Championship, the title that his dad never held. That's the whole point of why he wants it. And two,
Mm-hmm.
what Rollins was saying without actually saying it in storyline was, "Hey pal, I've never beaten you. I want you to face me so I can finally beat you." That's what it
Yeah.
sounded like to me. He was just being desperate and like, really, dude, I
Mhm.
want the main event. Please face me because if you don't face me, there's a pretty good chance I'm not main eventing. So
And many on social was saying that, yeah, this. I know it's not Seth really doing this, but they're making him do it. But it makes it seem like he's begging, like the
he
World Heavyweight
is.
Championship is like beneath the Universal, because like, what about me? What about me? Pick me! I'm begging. Come
That's
on,
what it
come
sounded like to
on.
me.
And like you're a world champion. You've been champion for whatever 6-7 months now. You've been the workhorse with Reigns having the part-time schedule and saying I'm the guy. He said I'm the guy. You think Roman's the guy? I'm the guy, but I'm the guy that's begging you to fight me at WrestleMania. Like it was cool. I didn't
No,
take
I
nothing
like the
from it.
segment, but I'm just saying it's funny and the
Yeah.
logic was kind of flawed. It's like, dude, you just sound so fucking desperate. Like it's gonna be Rollins and or Rhodes and Roman. Let's move on
Hmm.
here. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it is.
What else from the Rumble am I missing? That I should mention. I think pretty much covered the Rumble, right?
I think so. I think we got everything that was on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I think regardless of what happens for 40, we'll be watching. Speedy recovery for Punk, and he had that promo on Monday, like legit tears and stuff like that, and see how substantial that injury is, and we don't know the timetable. I mean, listen, last question is, we keep mentioning World Heavyweight Championship and Punk and all these guys. It's a it's a true question. What the fuck are they gonna do with Damian Priest Money in the Bank? Like, brother, like mi hermano. Listen, what are you gonna do? You've been Money in the Bank guy,
Mm-hmm.
Senor Mister Money in the Bank. Like, you got a very interesting decision to make, because you don't be the guy that has the briefcase the whole entire time and don't cash in. Like, because he ain't doing it against the Codys and Roman Reigns. It's got to be Seth and Sammy or Drew, or someone like that. Gunther. It has to be do you do it now at WrestleMania? Do you do it because by the time SummerSlam comes, it's over a year. So
Yeah.
do you at the Chamber? Like I don't know. What do you do with Priest?
Oh, yeah, but SummerSlam isn't until August, though. Money in the Bank is in July. He can wait until July. And again, like I said earlier, the complexion of the roster changed in 1 week, let alone 5 months from now. Anything can change between now and then. We don't know. I mean, I think Cody's beating Roman. I think he fucking should. We don't know what's all going on with Rollins. If Gunther wins the title, I don't know what. You can't really cash in on Gunther because that's just a heel versus heel thing unless he goes babyface. I don't know. I also would not want Gunther's first loss to come in a fucking Money in the Bank cash, and I feel like that'd be dumb. I don't know if he's cashing in successfully. I think he should because we've had a lot of bad luck with the men's Money in the Bank briefcase for the past 4, 5, 6 years now. He has to win successfully. I don't know if he will, but I think he can wait until after Mania. Even before Punk got hurt, even before Rollins got hurt, I said I think he'll wait until after Mania because there's no clear path between now and Mania for him to cash in. I think they put the briefcase on him, not even really knowing when he would cash in. I think they did that as a device to break up the Judgment Day, and they're not breaking up the Judgment Day anytime soon, so they really don't know what the fuck to do. And I like Damian Priest a lot. He's getting a lot of good heat right now in the R-Truth thing, so I don't know if he loses the briefcase to R-Truth. That'd be pretty stupid, I think. R-Truth, if he were to win it on his own in a couple months, I wouldn't complain about that either because R-Truth is funny. But I would like to see, for the first time ever, have Priest wait until Money in the Bank and cash in the briefcase, announce it ahead of time on that show. Literally wait the 1 year. We've never seen that before. That's what I would do. Against who? I don't know. Cody? Probably not. It would probably be whoever's the World Heavyweight Champion. But that's what I would do. So I feel like it would be something different they haven't done before. I don't know if he would win per se, but it's better than having him cash in a Chamber and having him lose in 2 minutes. I feel like that'd just be a waste of the briefcase. Another waste of the briefcase.
That's not a bad idea. And speaking of Chamber, last question. It's going to be 6 guys in the Chamber match in Perth next month for the right to go against Seth Rollins. Who would obviously we thought Punk was going to be one of those guys, but he's out.
Yeah.
So we're fantasy booking this. Who would be the 6 guys you would have in the Chamber? Obviously, maybe Drew.
Yep.
Sami Zayn is 2. Yep. Jey Uso 3. Yep.
I put Bronson Reed in there. He's from Australia. I would make him 4. I would say Punk, but he's hurt. I would say Gunther, but I don't think he can be in the match because I don't think he can travel for the next couple months. He just got his U.S. citizenship and he can't leave the country until like April or something. So if that's true and he can't be on the show, you have 2 spots open. Again, he's not going to win, but I'm just looking at the roster, thinking of the roster. Balor, Priest with the briefcase is stupid, but you could put Priest in there. Truth, maybe. Those are a couple options. Ivar.
You can't put Orton, AJ, LA because they're on SmackDown.
I mean, you could honestly, maybe you potentially could because Nick Aldis did say to Adam Pearce on Monday backstage, "Hey, we got to talk about Elimination Chamber." So if Cody does choose Roman, that's a Raw guy challenging a SmackDown guy. Andrade's another one. Andrade would make sense. They have a lot of good people on Raw right now. You could put Miz, but who gives a shit? People like that. I think if a Raw guy is challenging a SmackDown guy for Mania with Cody and Roman, you can make the argument, okay, what about a SmackDown guy challenging a Raw guy via the Chamber? So I think you can make the argument to put Orton in there or an AJ or a Knight or an Owens or whoever. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind that either. They have options. I'm excited to see. Listen, I think they're in the Mania card is not destroyed. They have enough talent to make this work. They have enough top talent on top to make this work. I'm really bummed that we're not getting Punk and Rollins. I was more looking forward to that than probably anything else, especially if only for the promos leading up to it. But, what can you do? So I think they can pivot fairly well and maybe not have as good of a Mania, but maybe, we'll see. Well, still a pretty strong Mania with the cards they have in place right now.
Yeah. I mean, we can get Jinder in there too. He was the one that hurt Seth.
You're killing me. Honestly, there's a pretty decent chance he could be in there. It is a little weird. I will say this. I don't give a fuck that he wasn't in there, but it is strange he wasn't even in the Rumble, considering he claimed to have injured Rollins and just challenged for the World Heavyweight Championship. Why would he not be in the Rumble? I mean, I don't care. I'm not crying about it, but I'm just saying logically that doesn't make a lot of sense. Put him in there instead of like JD McDonough or something like that. I mean,
he could have been the Pat McAfee spot.
Oh yeah, or Pat McAfee. That was a waste. That was pretty stupid.
Yeah, that's great.
I like Pat McAfee. He's like, oh, all right, cool, and then he just immediately did the Drew Carey thing. I'm like, the fuck was the point of that? It was dumb.
Yeah, like you know what, deuces, I'm out.
Stupid. They already did the comedy thing with Truth, and that was really funny. The Pat McAfee thing was just dumb.
Yeah, I mean they could probably can they put an NXT guy in it? Can they put Braun
Yeah,
Breaker
they could.
in there too?
Yeah, it's possible.